Good morning or afternoon or evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again. I'm going to talk to you today about what global trends I see around the world. And just to let you know that the new year is the year of the tiger, whatever that's going to mean for all of us in the world, we'll see. The trends I want to focus on today are some global projections for 2022. And those of you that get our bi-weekly global business update newsletter, it came out yesterday and it was focused on projections for 2022. We're going to look at the world's wealth as a balance sheet. That's kind of an interesting way of looking at things. Projection is that world GDP will hit 100 trillion in 2022. It was about 95 trillion this year. I'm going to look at what's happened to China's share of world exports, from the time that I moved to China in 1983 until today. The global liquid natural gas trade, why would we look at that? Well, it has a profound impact on the United States energy supply and energy exports, and who is holding the gas cleaver above everybody's head around the world. Then we're going to look at an interesting solution for supply chain. And finally, we'll look at the world we live in today. Any of you that want to see our bi-weekly global update newsletter, just go to geowizard.biz. And if I can get that to work. Okay, so this is JP Morgan, came out a couple of weeks ago, just about, well, not quite, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, that's right. This is what they see in the gross domestic product growth in 2022. Global still strong at 4.3. Pre-pandemic, that was in the 3.2 range. US remains stronger than it was pre-COVID. Euro area is one where they expect to see good growth, which is unusual. That's usually in the 2 to 2.2 range. China, 4.7 is very low. For them, they really need more than 5% a year to absorb the new employees that come into the marketplace, i.e. get them jobs so they don't get upset. And then EM is emerging markets like Indonesia, Thailand, places like that, strong there. And notice that the JP Morgan is, and I'm not the stock guy like Brian is, but JP Morgan is positive on equities, commodities, emerging markets, but not on bonds. I think that Brian, that's because of the low interest rates. But then again, that's the total extent of even more of my knowledge of economics. Euromonitor International is one of the really good sources that we monitor, and here's what they say. Global outlook, they think the GDP will be about 4.6 growth worldwide. That was 4.3 by JP Morgan. They're more optimistic about the US. They think it'll be over 4%. And China will slow down to from 8 to 5%. So 5.5 would be very good for China. I think it's probably going to be in the 4.5 range, and that is not good for President Xi. Eurozone, solid growth, and that is really, really important because those countries are coming back faster than most others. And there are a lot of investment opportunities in the European Union, the Eurozone these days. Here's a very interesting chart. This is a new way of looking at world wealth using a balance sheet. So I found this really to be incredible that worldwide real estate accounts for 2/3 of the real assets in the world. Now, I can't, this is McKinsey and Company, so you can believe it or not believe it, but that's a pretty astounding number that of our global value of assets, almost 70% is real estate. Then fixed assets, and notice down below, mineral and energy is really not very high. So it's interesting to see where the assets are in the world according to a number of sources that McKinsey and Company put together. I was really amazed at how much of the total world assets are real estate, but that may in fact make a lot of sense when you think about it. Well, now here is what the global GDP was, gross domestic product was in 2021, $94 trillion. Notice the share of global GDP. China at 17 trillion, US at about 22, Germany at about 4, Japan at about 5, India at about 3. It's really interesting that China is catching up to us. We'll talk about that a little more in a minute. But the Eurozone is quite interesting, and it has quite a large number of significant countries as far as global GDP. In fact, the US is greater than, as it says, I can't actually read behind there, than the combined GDP of 170 countries, which is, I'm encouraged. China's catching up. Now, the Center for Economics and Business Research, CEBR, came out with their World Economic League table for 2022. It just came out about a week ago. And they expect that GDP growth to go to 100 trillion for the first time in the world's history. And last year, that forecast was that would come in 2024. So that's really a big change. Everybody's optimistic here. See if I can get that out of the way. Now, I mentioned China in 1983 and China 2020. In 1983, I moved to China with ARCO, the Atlantic Richfield, the oil company, to start drilling offshore China, the first American company to get an offshore China drilling concession. And if you look at what the trade was, this is the share of global exports of goods, percentage of the world total. Germany was ahead of the US, keep on going down, and you'll notice that China was, 40 years ago, China was 1% of global exports. And look where it is today, almost 40 years later. It's 15%. We're behind it, as you can see. But that is an amazing achievement. There's never been a change in economic value in a country in the world like until China came along at this level. It's really quite amazing to see this, rightfully or wrongfully, if this is what it is. And then this one is a little bit hard to see. We're going to share the slides with you. This is what's called the Sankey diagram. This is the global flow of liquefied natural gas. You notice that Australia and Qatar produce more exported liquid natural gas than anyone else. See where it's going to. Australia is going to Japan primarily. Qatar is going to Japan. The US is a fairly new participant in this and has, in the last 10 years, it's become important exporter of natural gas. And notice that some of it goes to Japan, but also a significant amount goes to China. And then you can see that Russia, Malaysia keeps on going down. But the key here is that the US is a major exporter of liquefied natural gas and produces a huge amount of positive trade balance for the United States each year due to this export that is fairly new. Hopefully we'll be allowed to continue to do it. Now, supply chain headlines. Shipping container companies are online to make a record-breaking $150 billion this year. The cost of shipping from China to Southeast Asia has gone up 10%. Lithium batteries are being exported by air, but I think I found the solution to this, figuring out what's going on in the supply chain. You can see it over here in the cartoon. I think the best way to figure out what's going on with the supply chain is to put one of the executives in the supply chain sector in a box and let them go through the supply chain process. I think that'll work well. that's one of my favorite cartoons of the year. But it is a unique solution, but it actually might work because that way we know what's going on. Whoops. And I'm going to end today with two cartoons. The one on the left is from the South China Morning Post. So before the girl allows the gentleman to kiss her under mistletoe, he has to get his nose probed, which I think is a sign of the times. And then I thought of Bill on the right here. This is a Zoom call, and it says a special welcome to Bob from Australia, which is down under. Notice Bob's upside down. So I know that's kind of trite, but anyway, that's my cartoons for the end of the year, and I wish everybody a prosperous and a healthy new year, the year of the tiger.